Hi, this is Miss Alyssa, and this is a demo video on how to make a color wheel using watercolors, and you're going to only have the primaries, red, blue, and yellow. In order to do this project, you'll need some water for washing your brush. You'll need a small brush. You'll need a palette here for mixing colors, and a paper towel in case you drip or make mistakes. You'll also need a pencil to put your name up on top, and then later you can use a pencil or some other sort of pen to label the different colors and the primaries, secondaries, and tertiary colors on your color wheel. If you need to clean out your colors before you start, it's a good idea just to take a wet brush and swirl it around a few times in the color itself, and then let the dirty stuff drip out. These colors have a lot more use out of them even if they're dirty, and it only takes a few seconds to clean it off. You also want to start off painting by getting each of the colors wet so that it's ready to use and mix. So I'm just cleaning off this red here and getting it wet at the same time. I'm going to set my watercolors in the palette and then use the space around the palette and my paper here to mix colors and test them before I put them in the shapes on my paper. I'm going to start out simple here and use my red watercolor to do the red labeled shape right here. When you're doing this, you want to practice brush control, which means staying in the lines. And you want to get a nice saturated color, that's a very bright red, and go right up to the corners with the tip of your brush and fill it in. You don't want to have it look pink. That means that it's too much of a tint and you need more color. And you want to try to apply it evenly all over your shape. Now that the red is done, I'm going to wash my brush and do the next primary. Now I'm doing blue. If you accidentally drip outside the shape, that's okay. What we're looking for is that you stay in lines when you're actually painting the shape. Drips happen with watercolor. They're a harder paint to paint with than a lot of paints because you really can't fix your mistakes. So you want to make sure you're putting the right color in the right place and going slow so that you stay in the lines. The last color I did was blue, and if I don't wash my brush off well, it'll have some blue left over on it, and it will stain the yellow a bluish color. So it will look a little bit more what's yellow plus blue? Right, it'll be kind of like a yellowish green. So you want to make sure your brush is really clean when you do the yellow, because the yellow is a less strong color than blue. One thing I forgot to do is put some yellow in these little dots here. These are my primary dots, so there's just one. Primary meaning like first. And then we're going to do 2 dots for the secondary colors and 3 dots for the tertiary colors. Now I'm going to move on to my secondary colors. Secondary colors are the ones with the 2 dots. So right here, yellow and red, in the middle, I'm going to put the color that you mix when you mix yellow and red together. So in this case, I'm going to do orange. If I want to label it right now with my pencil, I can, or I can label it later. If some of you guys feel like you're going to forget what colors go where, we do have a color wheel here where all of the colors are labeled already so that you make sure you have them in the right order around the color wheel. To make a good orange, I'm going to use one of my palette holes like this, and I'm going to add a little bit of red to my yellow, not too much. Red is a stronger color. And I'm going to try to get an orange. I'm going in with a clean brush to the yellow so I don't taint it, and then cleaning it too for the red. Okay, that looks orange, but it's kind of a reddish orange. I want something that's a little bit more a pure orange. Okay, this is looking better. And now I'm going to put that right in the middle. You can go right from your palette if you want. You can also test out your colors on the paper over here to see if they're looking right before you put them in the shape. Now, before I move on to my next secondary color, I'm actually going to do this tertiary. This is something I like to do. Orange plus red is a reddish orange. It's not quite orange and it's not quite red. It's kind of the color of a pumpkin. Well, before I move on, I'm going to do these secondary dots. So what I'm going to do is right in this orange here, I'm just going to add a little bit more red, so it's more of a reddish orange, and make that my tertiary color, not quite orange, not quite red, but a reddish orange in between. Each of the colors in your color wheel should look different than the one next to it. And again, if you want to label first, you can. And then my 3 dots. So here I have my primary, my secondary, and my tertiary. In this one here, it's going to be a yellowish orange. So I have just a teeny bit of red left in there. So I'm going to add a lot of yellow to that and try to get a yellow that just has a teeny bit of red in it, but mostly yellow still. Okay? And then put that here. This will be my tertiary, yellowish orange. Not pure yellow. Oops, I went out the line. Oh well. But not pure orange either. Something in between. Now I'm rushing, so I got to slow down. Dot, dot, dot. All right. And here we have our, and this is like a third or almost half of the color wheel finished already. Okay, so here's my completed color wheel. I have all 12 colors, primaries, secondaries, and tertiaries. They all look a little bit different. I've used this area to mix and test colors, and then also some of the areas in my palettes to do so. And my final step now to get a 4 is to label the colors. So I put red, orange, 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 yellow, yellow. And then I'd like to also, let's put a P here for primary, primary, primary. You could also list them if you wanted. I'll put a key for primary and secondary on your paper. Yeah. If you mess up, for example, like if you accidentally put some watercolor here you don't want to here, you could take a wet paper towel, dip it in a little water, and try to kind of sop it up. Oh, that didn't really work. Or else you could also, if it really is bad and you have to start over an entirely new shape, we will have some extra shapes available for you, and you could glue it on top once your paper is dry and just redo that color entirely. So that's our color wheel paint mixing assignment to get us ready for our Unit 3 painting projects. All right, good luck.